Beloved chosen one, stop scrolling. Heaven just interrupted your ordinary moment. You didn't stumble here by accident. This is a divine appointment written before the foundations of the earth. You have felt the invisible tug, that still voice whispering through the noise. Listen now. That whisper is not from man. It is the call of heaven, reaching directly for your soul. You've always sensed you were different. While others chased comfort, you chased meaning. While others blended in, you stood apart without trying. That was never rebellion. It was recognition. Deep within, your spirit knew that ordinary could never satisfy extraordinary purpose. You were designed to disturb darkness, to carry light where few dare to walk. That difference others mocked was actually your divine distinction. Every closed door, every lonely night, every tear that refused to dry, it all had purpose. You thought God was silent, but silence is the language of shaping. When the potter molds clay, it does not speak, he presses. Every delay was protection, every disappointment divine direction. You have not been forgotten, you have been forged. Look at your life rubbed through Finn's lens. How many times did disaster miss you by inches? How many times did what should have destroyed you only refine you? You have been carried, even when you felt abandoned. The invisible hand of mercy wrote a story through every scar, a story that now speaks louder than the pain ever did. Chosen one, the shaking you feel now is not punishment. It is awakening. Heaven is breaking routine to bring revelation. The season of waiting has expired. The trumpet of calling sounds over your life. The power that once felt distant is about to flow through you like living fire. You will not just survive, you will declare. Do not shrink back. You were never built for small spaces. The dreams that haunt your sleep are not fantasies. They are prophecies of what heaven plans to birth through you. Every time you tried to walk away, conviction pulled you back. You were branded by purpose, sealed by promise, marked by mercy. This is why the battles grew fiercer when you decided to obey. Darkness recognized what you carried before you did. The warfare around you is proof of the glory within you. Do not mistake spiritual attacks for divine abandonment. They are simply evidence that your name is known in both realms. Right now, heaven whispers, step forward. The fear that once ruled your nights will bow to faith. The same tears that once represented pain will soon become the oil of anointing. You are about to walk in a peace this world cannot explain. The old you cannot come on this next journey. The timid one, the fearful one, the doubting one. They were necessary for survival but cannot remain for ascension. Hear this clearly. Heaven has paused everything around you for this moment. The notifications, the noise, the chaos. Fade because eternity is speaking. You are hearing the sound of destiny knocking at your heart's door. Answer it now, before it fades. And as heaven confirms this moment, we are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 37, verse 4. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. That is not a promise for the distant future. It is the heartbeat of your present moment. As you align with heaven, the very desires that seemed impossible will begin to manifest. Your waiting season becomes your proving ground. Your faith becomes the magnet that draws divine fulfillment. The longings that would not leave your heart were planted there by God Himself. You are entering a season where hidden seeds burst forth. What you planted in tears will bloom in power. The years that felt wasted are being redeemed in a single moment. God wastes nothing. Not your pain, not your silence, not your scars. Every moment has been sacred preparation. Even now, angels are being assigned to your next chapter. The path before you is being cleared, the traps of darkness exposed. What once opposed you will now announce you. The same voices that doubted you will witness divine vindication. This is the unveiling of a chosen one in full authority. Stand tall, for heaven's light rests upon you. You are not merely surviving, you are transforming into evidence of divine promise. When you walk, the ground remembers your authority. When you speak, the atmosphere shifts. The King's breath moves through you, and all of creation recognizes that a chosen one has awakened. If this message resonated within your spirit, declare your alignment with heaven by commenting 111 below as a prophetic act of awakening. Like this message, share it so that other chosen ones may arise, and subscribe to stay connected to the voice of destiny. You are not forgotten. You are not late. You are chosen. And this message, this very moment, did not come from man. It came straight from the heart of God. There has always been something about you, chosen one. Something that did not fit into the patterns of this world. From childhood, you sensed things others ignored. You saw beyond the surface, felt the weight of unseen things, and carried emotions that seemed too heavy for your years. People called you sensitive, but heaven called you aware. You were not born to be ordinary. You were born to discern divine movement. Every room you enter seems to shift. People either draw near to your light or retreat from it, because your presence exposes motives, intentions, and hidden pain. You carry the fragrance of heaven, and that fragrance disrupts darkness. It is why some love you instantly and others misunderstand you without reason. But do not grieve their misunderstanding. Rejection is a language heaven uses to guide you toward your rightful circle. When others mocked you for being too different, you did not realize that the difference was your divine signature. You were never called to blend in. You were designed to stand out. The world celebrates conformity, but heaven crowns authenticity. The mark you carry cannot be erased by doubt, jealousy, or failure. It is the seal of divine election. Every storm you survived, every betrayal you endured, every season of silence you walked through was heaven's way of training your spirit for endurance. You often questioned why your heart feels so deeply, why injustice cuts you so sharply, and why you can sense the pain of others as if it were your own. It is because you have been entrusted with a portion of God's heart. The chosen always carry more than their own burdens. You were born to intercede, to stand between heaven and earth as a vessel of divine compassion. That sensitivity you tried to bury is actually one of your greatest weapons. It allows you to feel what God feels. Remember the nights you wept, not knowing why. Those tears were not wasted. Every drop became intercession for someone else's deliverances. Heaven hears cries that never reach human ears. And while you thought you were breaking, heaven saw you birthing something new. Faith, endurance, vision, purity. The chosen ones are refined differently. Their pain is prophetic. Their silence is sacred. Their wounds become wells where others will drink and find life. You have always carried something precious, something that cannot be stolen, though many have tried. When people abandoned you, it was because they could not handle the oil you carry. When you were isolated, it was so that heaven could speak without interruption. God hides his treasures in unlikely vessels, and you, beloved, are one of them. The world saw weakness, but heaven saw preparation. This is why certain environments began to feel uncomfortable. You outgrew the conversations that once entertained you. You started seeing through illusions that others still celebrate. That is spiritual growth, the awakening of divine discernment. The deeper you walk with God, the less you tolerate shallow things. Your spirit begins to crave purity, truth, and alignment. You can't go back to pretending you don't know what you know. Do not fight the separation. It is holy. When God calls you higher, he removes what cannot survive at that altitude. He detaches you from distractions, dismantles counterfeit connections, and exposes hidden agendas. It hurts, yes, but But every separation is a setup for sanctification. You are being positioned, not punished. There will come moments when loneliness tries to whisper lies, that you are forgotten, unseen, unloved. But heaven watches even the smallest movement of your heart. The loneliness is temporary. The transformation is eternal. God has a way of turning isolation into revelation. In silence, you will hear Him clearer. In stillness, you will recognize His fingerprints on everything. The chosen always walk a narrow road. You cannot move with the crowd because your steps are ordered differently. You are being trained to hear divine instruction in the chaos of this world. Do not despise the discipline. Heaven is shaping your ear to recognize the shepherd's voice amidst the noise. Soon, what feels confusing will make sense, and heaven reminds you today through its ancient wisdom, as the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not delay. This word breathes over your life right now. What you have been waiting for is not denied. It is being timed perfectly. Heaven's calendar is never late. Every promise spoken over you is alive, growing, and preparing to manifest. When it comes, it will come suddenly, like dawn after endless night. You are the chosen one, and the delay you feel is divine synchronization. Heaven is aligning circumstances, preparing people, and clearing obstacles. Do not lose heart in the waiting. The appointed time is closer than it appears. You are not forgotten. You are in formation. Every sleepless night, every unanswered question, every time you felt invisible, it was never wasted. The wilderness you walked through was not punishment. Chosen one. It was training ground. You were not wandering, you were being led. When you felt lost, heaven was quietly drawing the map of your destiny in the dark. It's in those lonely places where your prayers grew raw, your worship became real, and your dependency on God deepened. You were stripped of false comforts so you could recognize the true source of strength. You didn't need approval, you needed anointing. You didn't need crowds, you needed clarity. Every empty space in your life became a sanctuary for revelation. Sometimes, God hides His greatest treasures in seasons of silence. When you thought heaven ignored you, it was actually listening closely, refining your voice through waiting. You have been stretched so that your spirit could hold more. That is why life felt heavier than before. You were expanding in capacity. You were misunderstood because you spoke the language of heaven in a world that only understands fear. You carried hope where others carried hate. You chose forgiveness when revenge looked easier. That wasn't weakness. It was divine nature revealing itself through you. You mirrored the heart of God without even realizing it. The enemy tried to convince you that silence meant absence. But no. Heaven was near all along. When you were weeping on the floor, God was standing right beside you, writing a new chapter with your tears. He didn't stop the storm because He knew you'd learn to walk on water through it. What you saw as drowning, He saw as training for dominion. Sin 1, don't you see? The pain that almost broke you became the very evidence of your calling. The reason it hurts so much is because the assignment is so great. You are not just surviving trauma. You are transforming it into testimony. You carry authority over the battles you've conquered. What once scarred you now scares the darkness. You are not what happened to you. You are what rose from it. Every time you chose love over bitterness, heaven applauded. Every time you decided to keep believing when logic said to quit, angels recorded it. You have built something eternal, faith that cannot be shaken. The wilderness may have felt endless, but it was always temporary. It taught you to discern God's whisper, to trust unseen timing, and to depend on provision that doesn't come from men. You are walking out of that desert with a stronger spirit and sharper discernment. You have learned the rhythm of divine survival: stillness in chaos, peace in uncertainty, praise in pain. Even now, God is reminding you of His faithfulness. The same hand that carried you through storms will now crown you with peace. You didn't come this far to be abandoned. You came this far to be revealed. You are stepping into the phase where the purpose behind the pain becomes visible. And heaven affirms this truth. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 17. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. Those light troubles felt unbearable, but compared to the glory that's coming, they are weightless. The reward is not only in heaven, it's also in the transformation happening inside you. You have become a living example that suffering can produce splendor when surrendered to God. Now your story will heal others. The very wilderness that tried to bury you will become the testimony that sets captives free. Your scars will speak louder than sermons. People will look at you and see evidence that God is real, that redemption is possible, that purpose can rise from ashes. The world may remember your pain, but heaven celebrates your perseverance. What was once a wound is now a weapon. You are dangerous to darkness because you survived what was designed to silence you. Every breath you take now is an act of defiance against hell itself. And when you speak, your words carry power because they are forged in authenticity. You do not preach theories. You release truth that's been tested by fire. That is why heaven trusts you with influence. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are a vessel of divine purpose. Now, let Yeshua respond. Type the words "I rise again" below, not as a comment for the algorithm, but as a declaration to the unseen realm. Every letter you type echoes through the heavens, marking your agreement with restoration. You are saying, "My wilderness was not the end. My rising begins now." The wilderness season is closing. A new dawn is opening. What was hidden will now be honored. What was silent will now sing, and what was broken will now shine. You are the chosen one, and this was all part of the plan. When heaven presses pause, it is never without purpose. Chosen one, sometimes God halts the rhythm of your life to realign what your heart has allowed to drift. You call it delay, but in truth, it is divine synchronization. What you interpret as silence is often heaven resetting the atmosphere around you, preparing you for what cannot exist amid noise. There are moments when heaven must quiet everything: relationships, plans, even opportunities, so that your soul can hear the still voice that leads to destiny. The world glorifies movement, but heaven treasures stillness. You are learning that divine progress sometimes looks like standing still. Waiting is not weakness. It is warfare in disguise. Every second of waiting is a declaration that you trust His timing more than your own understanding. The pause feels painful because you were built to move, to create, to reach. But even rivers rest in still pools before cascading again. The pause is not punishment. It is positioning. God slows you down only when the next step requires precision. You are being refined, not restrained. During these pauses, heaven examines the motives that drive you. The divine spotlight reveals what cannot travel with you into the next chapter. Fear disguised as ambition, pride dressed as passion, doubt camouflaged as humility. The refining process may feel harsh, but it's necessary. You are not being broken. You are being purified. Look closely at your current silence. There's a melody in it, one only heaven can compose. You may not see progress on the surface, but beneath it, foundations are shifting. God is building roots deep enough to hold the weight of what is coming. The deeper the foundation, the higher the future structure. You can't see roots grow, but you will one day see the tree that stands unshaken. You must learn to rest even when the world rushes. Heaven's pace is never frantic. The divine plan unfolds with patience because eternity is not anxious. While the world measures success in speed, heaven measures it in surrender. Every time you choose peace instead of panic, faith instead of frustration, you prove that your trust is mature. Remember, chosen one, the pause of heaven often precedes the performance of miracles. Before Jesus multiplied bread, he first made the crowd sit down. Stillness always comes before supernatural supply. God is not ignoring you. He is inviting you to breathe. He is whispering, "Be still and know that I am God." The stillness you fear is actually the space where revelation breathes. There will be moments when you want to run, to fix, to make something happen by your own strength. But the anointing of the chosen cannot be manufactured. It must be cultivated. True authority flows from those who waited well. The waiting ones are the ones trusted with weight. You are learning divine patience, the kind that turns frustration into faith and silence into strategy. Think of it this way: when an arrow is pulled backward, it feels tension and restraint. But that tension is what gives it power when released. The farther it's drawn back, the greater its reach. That's what heaven is doing with you, pulling you back only to propel you further than you imagined. Do not resist the pull, embrace it. The pressure you feel is preparation for propulsion. And heaven confirms this truth as was spoken in the sacred texts of old. In the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 14. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. This is not a call to passivity. It is a call to trust. When God fights for you, no opposition can stand. Your job is not to strive. It is to stay surrendered. You are being taught to rest while heaven works, to stand still while angels move on your behalf. In the silence, heaven speaks strategy. The ideas forming quietly in your heart are not random. They are divine downloads. What seems like inactivity is actually incubation. You are carrying vision, and vision takes time to mature. When the moment arrives, everything that felt delayed will suddenly make sense. You'll look back and realize that the pause was the preparation. So, breathe. Release the need to understand every delay. The story is not stalled. It's simply being perfected. Heaven has not forgotten you. It is orchestrating a symphony of timing so precise that when the music starts, every note will sound divine. Chosen one, don't despise this holy stillness. The pause you fear is the place where God breathes destiny into your bones. When heaven presses pause, it is not the end of movement. It is the start of mastery. Wait well, for what is coming will require the strength you are gaining in this sacred stillness. Beloved chosen one, every storm that once surrounded you was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to awaken the warrior within. You have been walking through fire, not realizing that the flames were forming armor. You were not being punished. You were being equipped. Every hardship you endured trained your hands for battle and your heart for endurance. There is a power rising in you now, quiet yet undeniable. It's not loud confidence or human pride. It's divine boldness. You have faced what others ran from, and because of that, heaven has trusted you with strength few understand. You are stepping into a season where your voice carries weight, your words carry fire, and your prayers carry impact. You have been refined, and now you are ready. Think of yourself as a sword in the hands of the Almighty. Before a blade gleams in the light, it must endure heat, pressure, and sharpening. Every trial you faced was a strike of the blacksmith's hammer. Painful, yes, but precise. The hammer didn't come to destroy you. It came to define you. What once wounded you now strengthens your edge. When you stand in faith, darkness trembles. You may not realize it, but every morning you rise, you declare war on despair. Your resilience is a weapon. your hope a shield. Heaven does not raise passive souls. It raises warriors clothed in humility and truth. You are not fighting for victory. You are fighting from victory. There are moments when you feel the exhaustion of the fight, when even lifting your head seems like too much. But remember this: no warrior wins every battle by strength alone. Even soldiers must rest between wars. In your resting, you are reloading, refilling your spirit with faith, peace, and purpose. Rest is not retreat, it is recovery. You've survived enough battles to know that your survival was not luck, it was strategy. Heaven never abandons its soldiers in the field. Angels have guarded you through nights when fear crept too close, through days when hope was thin. Every scar you carry is a medal of endurance, a sign that you fought through what was meant to finish you. And heaven reminds you today. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Deuteronomy, chapter 20, verse 4. For the Lord your God is the one who goes with you to fight for you against your enemies, to give you victory. You have not fought alone. Every unseen victory, every near fall, every silent deliverance, heaven was beside you. God fought when you couldn't lift your own sword. That's why you're still standing. The victory is not coming. It's already written in eternity. You are walking into what has already been decided. The fire that once frightened you now bows to you. You have learned the language of warfare, faith. You speak peace into storms and light into valleys. You no longer react, you respond. That's what warriors do. They move with wisdom, not emotion. You are becoming that vessel now, powerful, balanced, unshakable. But listen closely, chosen one. Even warriors need community. The body of light grows stronger when it stands together. When you share this message, it's not for numbers, it's for alignment. Somewhere, another chosen one is searching for confirmation, a reminder that they are not fighting alone. Your simple act of sharing could be the spark that reignites their courage. When you like or comment, you are not boosting an algorithm. You are lifting a banner of unity. Each interaction sends ripples through the spiritual atmosphere, spreading truth to those still trapped in silence. You become part of the mission to awaken, equip, and strengthen those who are still asleep. And if your spirit feels stirred to do more, to sow into the flow of these messages, then give not out of pressure, but out of revelation. Think of it as planting a seed into fertile ground. Every donation is not a transaction, it's participation in a divine assignment. You help the message reach farther, the light burn brighter, the voices of the chosen rise louder. Your giving becomes another weapon of warfare, a declaration that truth will not be silenced. You are part of something much bigger than yourself, a movement of souls remembering who they are. Together, we build a wall of light around this generation. Together, we push back darkness through words, through love, through shared faith. So, stand firm. Continue to rise, not just as one who survived, but as one who leads. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs more warriors of light like you. When this message ends, the mission continues. Keep your fire alive, keep your faith sharp, and keep your heart open. The battle ahead is not to break you. It's to reveal your brilliance. The same God who trained David's hands for war is training yours for victory. You will not fail, because the one who called you never does. The clash between light and darkness intensifies, chosen one. You can feel it in your spirit. The air thick with unseen tension, the nights heavier than before, the weight of invisible warfare pressing against your peace. You are not imagining it. The closer you draw to divine purpose, the louder the opposition becomes. But remember this: pressure is the proof of presence. The enemy does not attack what does not threaten him. Every spiritual storm that rises against you is confirmation that you are carrying something holy. The light within you disrupts the plans of darkness. Your very existence is resistance. You may not see the battle, but heaven sees it clearly. The unseen realm trembles when you awaken. You are not weak. You are targeted because you are anointed. There is a reason some days feel like survival. You are walking through territories few dare to enter, dismantling chains that have bound generations. When you pray, the ground shakes. When you worship, the atmosphere clears. Every word of truth you release pierces through spiritual fog like lightning. That is why the attacks come, because your obedience is dangerous. But you must understand this. Not every struggle is a sign of failure. Some warfare is an announcement that your next level has arrived. Heaven allows resistance to reveal resilience. The storm doesn't come to drown you. It comes to display your authority over the waves. You are not the victim of war. You are the weapon heaven forged for it. When darkness presses in, don't panic. Stand still and remember who walks beside you. There is a power in you that cannot be extinguished, for you were sealed with divine light. You may stumble, but you will never fall beyond redemption. The one who called you has already seen your victory. The outcome is written. The fight is the unveiling. This is why your energy has been under attack, why distractions have multiplied, why exhaustion sometimes hits without warning. It's not just physical, it's spiritual interference. The enemy knows if he can drain your focus, he can delay your assignment. But heaven whispers, lift your eyes. You are surrounded by light. You are not fighting alone. Every time you choose peace over panic, you win ground. Every time you choose prayer over complaint, you fortify your walls. Every time you speak faith into fear, the darkness loses its grip. The chosen ones fight differently. They conquer with love, patience, and obedience. Your greatest weapon is not your voice, it is your consistency. Keep standing, even when you feel unseen. The Spirit reminds you through divine memory, the ancient words recorded in Romans, chapter 8, verse 31. If God is for us, who can be against us? That verse is not a comfort, it's a war cry. It declares that every force of darkness stands powerless against divine will. God is not watching your battle from afar. He is fighting in the midst of it. The angels assigned to your life are not symbolic, they are real, active, and engaged. When you whisper His name, armies move. Chosen one, you must know this. Your light terrifies what hides in shadows. You are not being attacked because you are weak. You are being tested because you are effective. Every season of opposition carries an opportunity for elevation. God does not waste warfare. He turns it into wisdom. You are learning strategy in struggle, authority in affliction, and discernment in delay. Do not let fear paralyze you. The same power that raised Jesus from the grave now flows in your veins. You are not a mere believer. You are a carrier of glory. Where you walk, light follows. Where you speak, truth awakens. You are a moving sanctuary, a walking miracle, a declaration that God still reigns. Now take a moment, breathe deeply, feel the peace that surpasses understanding begin to surround you. The fight is fierce, yes, but victory has already been decreed. You are stepping into a season where the enemy's voice grows faint and heaven's whisper grows loud. If this word resonated in your spirit, mark your agreement by commenting 3333 below. Let it be a sign of alignment, a declaration that you stand under heaven's command, a number symbolizing divine order and holy warfare. Each digit echoes through the unseen realm, declaring, light wins, I stand firm. You are not losing this battle. You are learning to command it. You are heaven's weapon in human form. And though the night is fierce, dawn always belongs to the light. Heaven waits, chosen one, not because it is uncertain, but because divine timing demands obedience. Every promise, every vision, every whisper you have received from God depends on one thing: your response. The threshold between delay and destiny is not time, it is obedience. The heavens are ready, the angels are aligned, the blessing is prepared. But heaven will not release what you will not receive. Obedience is not about convenience, it is about trust. It means stepping when you don't see the ground, moving when you don't understand the plan, and saying yes, even when your heart trembles. God does not test your willingness to succeed. He tests your willingness to submit. Many people desire elevation, but few embrace surrender. Yet every true chosen one learns that obedience is the doorway to dominion. There are moments when God asks you to do things that seem small or illogical. It may be forgiving someone who deeply wounded you, giving when you barely have enough, or walking away from something that feels comfortable. These are not random instructions. They are divine keys. Every act of obedience unlocks something in the unseen. You do not lose by obeying. You gain what you could never have earned. Sometimes the hardest obedience is silence. There will be times when heaven tells you not to defend yourself, not to explain, not to justify. In those moments, you are learning the language of divine restraint. God doesn't need your explanation. He needs your trust. The same hand that wrote your story will also reveal your vindication in due time. You may feel that your obedience has cost you relationships, opportunities, comfort. But heaven never asks for something without the intention to replace it with something better. The law of exchange in the spirit realm is clear. What you surrender willingly returns multiplied. Abraham laid his son on the altar and received a legacy of nations. Ruth left her homeland and found destiny. Every sacrifice has a sound in heaven, and heaven always answers that sound. When you hesitate to obey, fear whispers lies. It tells you that surrender will lead to loss, that control ensures safety, that waiting is wiser than trusting. But faith exposes the illusion. Control is a cage. Obedience is freedom. The moment you let go of what you think you must hold, God places in your hands what you could never imagine possessing. Even delayed obedience is disobedience in disguise. Every time you tell yourself, later. Heaven pauses. The angels assigned to your next season stand still until your yes activates movement again. There are blessings hovering over your life, waiting for one simple act of obedience. Do not let hesitation be the thief of your harvest. As heaven's reminder echoes again, the voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 19, verse 5. Now if you obey me fully and keep my covenant, then out of all nations you will be my treasured possession. You are not called to follow rules, you are invited into relationship. Obedience is not slavery, it is intimacy. When you obey, you walk so closely with God that your steps echo His. You begin to feel His rhythm, sense His direction, and move with His timing. That is how heaven entrusts authority, through alignment. There will come moments when obedience demands separation. Some people cannot walk where you are going. Their words may sound kind, but their spirits carry distraction. God's pruning is protection, even when it feels like loss. You are being trimmed so that you can bear lasting fruit. Do not cling to branches that no longer produce life. Obedience also looks like persistence. When God gives you an instruction, keep following it even when results seem absent. Noah kept building when the skies were clear. Elijah kept praying when no cloud appeared. Consistency is obedience in motion. Heaven rewards not the first yes, but the faithful still yes that endures through silence. And when obedience hurts, remember, it hurt Jesus too. In Gethsemane, his tears fell like blood, yet he said, "Not my will, but yours be done." That single statement shifted eternity. Your obedience carries the same potential. What you choose today could ripple through generations. So stand at the threshold, chosen one. Heaven's hands on the door, waiting for your response. Say yes again. Not halfway, not someday, now, because on the other side of obedience lies everything you were born for. The miracles, the promises, the calling, they are not withheld, they are waiting. The earth feels heavy tonight, chosen one. You can sense it. The groaning, the shifting, the unseen movement beneath the surface of the ordinary. The winds are not random. The shaking is not meaningless. Something in creation recognizes what you carry. The world may not yet know your name, but heaven and earth do. You have been set as a vessel of divine influence, and the very elements align themselves to your rising. Every chosen one reaches this moment, the moment when heaven's assignment begins to echo through the natural realm. It manifests as restlessness, as divine discomfort. Nothing satisfies, nothing feels the same. That's because you've outgrown the atmosphere of the ordinary. The earth itself is responding to your awakening. Every step you take now carries spiritual weight, and creation adjusts its rhythm to yours. You have seen it before in small ways, how situations bend in your favor at the last second, how storms that should have drowned you instead revealed new strength. That is not coincidence. It is spiritual authority beginning to manifest. The world recognizes who walks with you, even when people cannot. The soil remembers the voice of the Creator, and when His image-bearer speaks, it listens. You were not made to walk unnoticed. When you speak truth, the atmosphere shifts. When you pray, the invisible trembles. When you worship, heaven finds a resting place on earth. That is why your presence alone brings peace to chaos and conviction to darkness. You carry heaven's fingerprint, and creation cannot ignore its maker's mark. There are moments when storms rise without warning, but even those storms serve you. Nature mirrors the spiritual realm. Every gust of wind, every wave that crashes around you, echoes the battles happening in the unseen. Do not fear the shaking. It means something is aligning. Heaven never sends storms without reason. Storms come to announce transition. You must learn to speak with authority, not arrogance, but alignment. When you understand your position in God, your words no longer come from fear, but from faith. You do not beg storms to stop, you command them to obey. The wind may roar, but the Creator who calmed the sea lives within you. You are a vessel through which His dominion flows. Remember, even creation listens for the sound of the sons and daughters of God. It waits for those who will restore what was broken, heal what was wounded, and bless what has been cursed by human hands. The trees sway, the rivers flow, the mountains stand, all in expectation that someone like you will remember who they are. The earth is not your enemy, it is your ally. It recognizes divine authority. As the word of truth reminds us, according to what is revealed in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 19. For the creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed. Creation has been waiting for you, chosen one. Waiting for the moment you would stop shrinking, stop doubting, and start speaking. Every time you act in faith, a piece of creation exhales relief. You are a restorer, a reconciler between heaven and earth. When you intercede, you mend fractures in the unseen. When you love selflessly, you realign creation with its original harmony. The authority you carry is not for dominance, but for deliverance. You were not placed here to rule by force, but to heal by presence. The power in you is love refined by obedience. It is the kind of love that shifts atmospheres without words, that turns dry ground into fertile soil simply because heaven's spirit rests upon you. Do not underestimate the quiet power of your alignment. When you walk in righteousness, blessings begin to chase you. When you stay in tune with heaven's rhythm, provision arrives before you ask. That's not magic, that's divine law. The same voice that commanded the universe into order now commands it to serve the purposes of those aligned with His will. Even nature testifies of God's timing. The seed never questions when to bloom. It trusts the season. So must you. Your season is shifting, and all creation feels it. The winds that once opposed you now carry you. The ground that resisted you now yields fruit. The silence that once frightened you now echoes with destiny. Walk with awareness, chosen one. You are not small, and the earth around you knows it. Every step you take leaves a mark in the unseen, a footprint of glory. You are part of a divine symphony, a voice among the stars, a presence that carries heaven's fragrance into every place you stand. The earth is not groaning in despair anymore. It groans in recognition. It knows that a chosen one has awakened. Not every voice that sounds holy speaks from heaven, chosen one. In this age of noise and imitation, discernment is not optional. It is survival. The enemy has learned to disguise himself not as darkness but as light, not as chaos but as charm. Many doors will open before you, but not all of them lead to destiny. You must learn to listen not only with your ears but with your spirit. Discernment is heaven's compass within you. It is that quiet, uneasy feeling that stirs when something looks right but feels wrong. It is the Spirit's whisper saying, "Wait, watch, test the fruit." You are being trained to see beyond appearances, to perceive the true source behind every invitation, every opportunity, every voice that claims to guide you. The counterfeit call often comes dressed in convenience. It offers shortcuts to success, promises recognition without refinement, crowns without crosses. But the real path of the chosen is narrow, rugged, and sanctified by surrender. God's promises never bypass process. The enemy will tempt you to trade purpose for pleasure, calling it blessing. Yet discernment reminds you that not every open door is divine. Some are traps disguised as triumph. You must guard your spirit as a gatekeeper. The enemy cannot destroy a chosen one from the outside, so he seeks entry through deception. He mimics the tone of God to lure your focus, to exhaust your attention, to divide your heart. That is why silence and prayer are your strongest defenses. In quietness, the counterfeit loses volume. In the presence of truth, deception dissolves. When confusion rises, do not rush for answers, return to alignment. Heaven is never chaotic. Peace is always the language of authenticity. The Spirit within you never pressures. He prompts. He doesn't manipulate. He ministers. Whenever something demands instant obedience without inner peace, pause. If it requires you to violate your values to achieve success, it's not from God. Chosen one, you will meet people who seem radiant but carry shadows in their intentions. You will hear voices that promise destiny yet pull you away from the divine. Don't resent them. Recognize them. Every counterfeit comes to test your clarity. The stronger your discernment, the quieter deception becomes. Remember, even Eve heard a voice that quoted truth yet twisted intent. The serpent didn't deny God's word, he distorted it. That is how modern deception works. It sounds holy but lacks holiness. It uses the vocabulary of faith but the motive of pride. The enemy knows scripture but cannot produce spirit. That is how you will know the difference. Discernment grows in intimacy. The more time you spend with God, the easier it becomes to detect what is not of Him. Just as you can recognize a friend's voice in a crowd, you will soon recognize your Father's whisper in the storm. That sensitivity is not superstition. It is spiritual maturity. It is how heaven trains its warriors. Heaven confirms this principle. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 15. Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravenous wolves. That warning is not about fear, it's about focus. You are not called to judge people, but to discern spirits. You must learn to see beyond the surface, to sense seen currents moving beneath words and actions. God's Spirit within you will highlight truth with peace and expose deception with discomfort. Pay attention to that inner stirring. It is your shield. There will come moments when you must walk away from something that looks perfect but feels polluted. Do not mourn what you leave behind. Heaven sees the traps you never noticed. Sometimes protection looks like disappointment. Every time God closes a door, He saves you from an unseen fall. Trust His no as deeply as you trust His yes. The more you mature, the more subtle deception becomes. The enemy rarely tempts you with obvious evil. He tempts you with diluted good. He wants to drain your focus with endless, almost blessings. But you were not chosen to settle for imitation light. The true glory of heaven cannot be counterfeited. When the real appears, it carries peace, purity, and power. So, anchor yourself in truth. Guard your gates. Let your eyes stay fixed on the one who called you. You do not need to chase voices when you are tuned to the voice. You are not just a believer. You are a discerner of realms. Now, if your spirit understands this moment, write the words, "I choose truth" below. Let it be more than a comment. Let it be a declaration that your eyes are open, your heart is anchored, and your path is pure. Every time you choose truth over temptation, heaven celebrates. You prove that you are not fooled by light that does not lead to love. You are the chosen one. Stay alert, stay steady, stay true. The battle for your focus is real, but truth, once embraced, cannot be unlearned. Chosen one, do not despise the fire. What you call burning, heaven calls refining. Every heat you've endured, every season where life felt too intense to survive, those were not moments of destruction, but moments of divine shaping. You have been placed inside the furnace, not to be consumed, but to be clarified. What was once mixed with fear, doubt, or pride is being separated until only purity remains. Fire is never comfortable, but it is holy. Gold does not protest the flame, because it knows its value is revealed only when impurities rise to the surface. You, too, have been placed in the hands of the refiner. Every heartbreak, every unanswered prayer, every unexpected loss was fuel for transformation. The pain was not punishment, it was process. The God who allowed the flame also controls its temperature. You have never been unattended in the fire. There is a rhythm to refinement. It begins in resistance. The pressure intensifies, and everything within you wants to escape. But if you remain, if you stay in the place of surrender, the fire that once felt unbearable becomes a holy presence. You begin to feel something strange, peace in the middle of pain, light glowing through the cracks of what was once broken. That is the miracle of refinement. What doesn't burn away begins to shine. Chosen one, you are being forged into something unshakable. Like glass shaped under flame, your transparency becomes your strength. Heaven is teaching you to stand, to shine, and to speak even when the world misunderstands your process. People may only see the ashes, but heaven sees the glow rising from them. Listen carefully. Fire is not your enemy. It is your maker. Every great vessel of purpose must pass through it. Moses walked through it in the form of a burning bush. Elijah was lifted by it in the form of a fiery chariot. The disciples felt it descend in tongues of flame. The same fire that refines is the same fire that empowers. You are walking through both. As heaven affirms through sacred record, it was proclaimed in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 1, verse 7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. You are not meant to tremble before the flame. The spirit within you is not fragile. It is fireproof. What you carry cannot be scorched, because it is divine. The enemy hoped to use fire to destroy you, but God designed it to distinguish you. You will emerge from this season glowing with authority, walking with wisdom, speaking with weight. When metal leaves the forge, it no longer fears heat. It carries its memory as strength. You are becoming that kind of vessels. The fire will no longer terrify you. It will testify for you. Your story will carry warmth for the wounded, light for the lost, and courage for those who feel consumed by their own trials. Now, let this truth breathe over you. The refiner's work is never rushed. When gold glows brightest, it is closest to completion. Don't try to escape what is purifying you. Heaven is perfecting your patience, teaching your soul endurance, and preparing your hands for responsibility. The blessing ahead of you requires a version of you that only fire can produce. And when this word reaches the deepest corners of your heart, I ask you to pause. Reflect on the sacred exchange happening here. Every time you listen, every time you receive, every time you share, you help the light reach another chosen one still walking through their own fire. When you like this message, it's more than approval, it's agreement. When you share it, you extend the warmth of the flame to someone freezing in spiritual darkness. And when you subscribe, you're not following a channel. You're joining a movement of hearts determined to keep the fire burning. If you feel led to donate, do so not out of obligation, but revelation. Giving is never about money, it's about partnership. It's like adding oil to a lamp so the light doesn't fade. Every seed sown keeps this message alive, keeps the flame reaching farther, keeps the word illuminating places algorithms can't touch. Think of this message as a candle in the night. Your engagement, the simple act of sharing, supporting, giving, is like passing that candle to another soul lost in the dark. One flame becomes two, two become 10, 10 become thousands. This is how light conquers shadow, not in noise, but in quiet acts of faith. Chosen one, the fire is not your end, it is your beginning. When you emerge, the world will not recognize you, but heaven will smile and say, now they are ready. You were not only chosen to survive, you were chosen to carry something sacred. Every chosen one receives a mantle, a divine assignment wrapped in responsibility and revelation. The mantle is not an accessory of power. It is a garment of purpose. It feels heavy because it was never meant to be decorative. It was meant to carry the weight of heaven's intention on earth. From the moment you said yes to God's call, a shift began. You may not have seen it, but heaven placed something upon your spirit. It was invisible to the world, but unmistakable to darkness. The mantle you carry carries fire, and wherever you go, that fire disturbs what is unholy. That's why opposition rises, why comfort fades, why old cycles break. The mantle will not allow you to remain who you once were. You might wonder, why me? Why does the path feel so narrow? Why does obedience demand so much? Why does the calling come with such solitude? Because mantles are not given to the casual. They are entrusted to the faithful. God does not choose based on skill, He chooses based on surrender. The mantle rests on those who have learned to bow before they build, who have learned to weep before they lead. Every mantle in Scripture came with fire. Moses' mantle glowed with deliverance. Elijah's burned with prophetic boldness. Esther's shimmered with courage. And Mary's carried the light of salvation itself. Each paid a price of isolation before carrying influence. You, too, are walking that ancient path. Your hidden seasons are not delay, they are consecration. Heaven hides those who are too bright for premature exposure. There are things your mantle demands that comfort cannot satisfy. It will pull you away from what is easy, lead you into what is eternal, and draw you toward places others avoid. Sometimes you'll be misunderstood. Sometimes you'll be doubted. Sometimes you'll be alone. Yet even in that isolation, you will feel a holy companionship. The quiet presence of God whispering, you are not abandoned, you are being anointed. This calling does not remove your humanity, it refines it. You will still feel pain, still face questions, still long for rest. But the difference is this: now, your pain carries purpose. Every tear becomes intercession. Every burden becomes a bridge for others. you begin to realize that what you bear is not for you alone. It is for those who will walk behind you. The mantle makes you a carrier of deliverance. As heaven affirms through eternal record, the prophet Elijah spoke as recorded in the first book of Kings, chapter 19, verse 19. Elijah went up to Elisha and threw his cloak around him. That single act changed everything for Elisha. The moment the cloak touched his shoulders, he was no longer who he had been. The plow became a relic, the field a memory. When the mantle touches your life, it awakens dormant. Ordinary becomes sacred. The routine becomes radiant. Every breath feels charged with assignment. That's what's happening to you now. The mantle has found you. But be mindful, chosen one. Mantles are not maintained by talent, but by intimacy. You cannot carry divine power without divine proximity. The mantle does not respond to effort. It responds to worship. When you stay close to the giver, the gift flows freely. When you drift, the weight becomes heavy and the flame begins to dim. That is why prayer is not optional for you. It is oxygen. Your mantle carries memory. It remembers the voice that called you, the tears that shaped you, the promises whispered in secret. When fear tries to silence you, your mantle speaks louder. When doubt tries to paralyze you, your mantle stirs your spirit again. It will not let you quit even when your flesh screams to stop. That persistence is not pride. It's purpose wrapped in grace. In time, you'll see others drawn to you, not because of charisma, but because of calling. They will sense something familiar in your presence. The same fire that once called you will call them. Your obedience will become their invitation. That's how heaven multiplies impact. One chosen one awakening another, mantle to mantle, fire to fire. So wear it well, beloved. Do not try to make it lighter. Learn to grow stronger. Do not hide it to blend in. Let it shine, to break chains. Your mantle was custom made for your spirit. You are not too small for it. It fits the version of you that obedience is forming. The world will see your glow but may never know the cost. Heaven does, and it smiles because you have become what few dare to be. A carrier of divine weight, a walking flame wrapped in flesh. Your mantle is your mission, and it was never meant to fall. The sound of separation is never quiet, chosen one. It does not arrive with applause or comfort. It comes with tearing, with silence, with a strange ache that feels both holy and heavy. Yet this ache is sacred. It is heaven's way of loosening what no longer fits. Every separation in your life has been divine surgery, removing what could not sustain the weight of your next season. You have likely felt it recently, the sudden distance from people who once felt essential, the closing of doors that once seemed secure, the fading of voices that once filled your days. Do not call it rejection. Call it realignment. Heaven does not subtract to wound you. It subtracts to strengthen you. Separation always precedes elevation. The higher an eagle flies, the thinner the air becomes. Not everyone can breathe at your altitude. The people and patterns that once sustained you cannot accompany you where clarity requires solitude. You are not being abandoned. You are being distinguished. God isolates the anointed before he elevates them. What feels like loneliness is often divine preservation. You have outgrown certain atmospheres. The light within you now exposes what once blended comfortably into your life. Some conversations feel too small, some environments too heavy, some rhythms too slow. That discomfort is proof that your spirit is ascending. You cannot stretch into divine purpose while holding on to familiar chains. Remember, even Jesus withdrew. Before he performed miracles, before he faced the cross, he stepped away to pray. The wilderness became his preparation ground. Separation is not the absence of blessing. It is the birthplace of clarity. When heaven pulls you apart from noise, it is so you can finally hear the still, precise whisper of instruction. You are learning that peace is not found in company, but in communion. God is teaching you to stand without support, to believe without evidence, to love without recognition. The silence of this season is not emptiness, it's incubation. Something holy is forming in the unseen, and heaven wants your undivided attention. As the sacred word reveals, we are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms. Chapter 27, verse 5, "For in the day of trouble he will keep me safe in his dwelling. He will hide me in the shelter of his sacred tent and set me high upon a rock." That is your current reality, chosen one. You are hidden, not forgotten. Heaven has placed you in a shelter no human hand can reach. The hiding place is holy. It protects you while your wings strengthen. Those who look for you in old places will think you disappeared. But you are simply being developed. You will reemerge radiant, refined, and ready. Do not rush the process. Many try to escape the cave before their light is fully formed, only to fade too quickly when exposed. Stay until your spirit shines through the cracks of the old shell. Stay until your discernment matures enough to navigate new levels. Stay until your silence becomes strength. When separation hurts, remember, it is evidence of selection. The greater your calling, the narrower your path. Some can walk with crowds. You must walk with purpose. Your journey is sacred, measured, and specific. Every friendship pruned, every habit removed, every door closed. It's all divine design. You are being positioned for a platform you cannot yet see. Heaven knows your heart aches for companionship, for understanding, for someone to see you as you are. But take comfort. God sees you entirely. His gaze has never left you, and soon he will surround you with those who match your frequency, who carry complementary fire, who will run beside you without restraint. Divine connections require divine timing. The separation you feel now is preparing the foundation for that alignment. You will meet people who do not drain you but develop you. Their presence will feel like peace, their words like beamation, their spirits like mirrors. You will recognize them instantly, for the same fire that burns in you burns in them. Until then, do not mourn what walked away. The season of subtraction is sacred. Every departure has made room for destiny. You have not lost anything heaven intended for you to keep. This message is your sign. What is leaving your life is making space for what is lasting. The tearing you feel is the sound of heaven expanding your capacity. You will look back and thank God for every goodbye you didn't understand. Now, if your spirit bears witness to this truth, type 7777 below. It is not a number. It is a declaration of completion and divine transition. It represents your agreement that what was is over and what will be is unfolding. As you write it, you mark the moment your season of separation turns into a season of ascension. Chosen one, you are not breaking. You are being built. Heaven has not withdrawn. It has drawn you closer. The silence around you is filled with divine sound, and the emptiness you feel is the clearing for new glory. Everything begins to align, chosen one. The air feels different, lighter, as though heaven itself exhales near you. The confusion that once clouded your path now begins to clear. The scattered pieces of your life, once so fragmented, start to connect with divine precision. This is not coincidence. This is orchestration. Heaven has been arranging details behind the veil, and now the pattern begins to appear. You are walking into prophetic alignment, the place where timing meets preparation, where obedience meets opportunity, where waiting finally meets fulfillment. This alignment does not happen suddenly. It unfolds quietly, like dawn pushing darkness away. You begin to notice patterns, moments repeating themselves, faces returning with purpose, and opportunities that echo old promises. It is heaven whispering, "This is that." You may feel as if you've walked this road before, But this time is different. You are not who you were. The version of you that once doubted now discerns. The version that once hesitated now hears clearly. Alignment requires maturity, and heaven waited for your growth before granting your next assignment. You had to be stretched so your capacity could match your calling. There was a time when you prayed for open doors, and God responded by strengthening your character. You asked for clarity, and He gave you conflict. You asked for purpose, and He sent process. All of it was necessary. Now, as the puzzle pieces slide into place, you understand why He didn't answer you too soon. Premature blessings can crush unprepared hands. Prophetic alignment feels like walking through a hallway filled with echoes. Everything seems to confirm something else. Scripture you read years ago suddenly comes alive. Words spoken over your life now replay in new clarity. Dreams, symbols, and numbers align with divine rhythm. Don't rush to decode it all. Just stay in the flow. Revelation unfolds layer by layer, never all at once. This is how heaven moves subtly, surely, synchronously. When God sets things in motion, even what was broken begins to serve the plan. Every delay turns into direction, every loss becomes leverage. The people who left make space for those arriving. The doors that close steer you toward the one that opens. Nothing is wasted. Every thread finds its place in the tapestry of destiny. As the sacred record reveals, as the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 1, verse 5, "Look at the nations and watch, and be utterly amazed. For I am going to do something in your days that you would not believe, even if you were told." That word lives and breathes in you right now. Heaven is preparing to do what no logic can predict. The shift will not just change circumstances, it will redefine you. You are not stepping into another season. You are stepping into a new dimension of purpose. Prophetic alignment also brings divine encounters. You will cross paths with people who seem like coincidences, but are actually confirmations. Their words will echo what heaven has already whispered. Their presence will propel you, not distract you. When alignment happens, everything begins to speak. Circumstances, conversations, even silence. You'll find peace guiding you more than explanation. You may still feel moments of uncertainty, but that is natural. New alignment requires new trust. The old patterns of control no longer work here. You can no longer rely on understanding. You must rely on discernment. This is where maturity meets mystery. The steps ahead are revealed only as you move. Faith becomes your vision now. This is also the moment where heaven tests your pace. The temptation will be to sprint when you feel the energy of destiny stirring, but prophetic alignment is delicate. Move too fast and you might outrun grace. Move too slow and you might miss momentum. Let peace set your rhythm. When it feels forced, pause. When it flows effortlessly, follow. You will begin to notice divine order appearing in ordinary days. Appointments rescheduled without reason. Strangers speaking truth unaware. Dreams becoming instructions. Heaven communicates constantly through what seems mundane. Stay alert. Your next direction may arrive through something small. The path ahead will not be chaotic, but it will be unpredictable. That's how divine alignment works. It requires surrender, not control. You do not need to know the destination to walk confidently. You only need to trust the navigator. Every step you take in faith rearranges unseen realities. Soon, you will look back and see how every disappointment was a doorway, how every delay was divine design. What once felt like fragments will form into fulfillment. You will realize that the very thing you thought was falling apart was actually falling into place. Prophetic alignment is heaven's way of reminding you that your story was never random. It was rehearsed in eternity. Every promise still stands. Every word still breathes. You have entered the part of the journey where destiny no longer whispers. it begins to sing. There are battles that few will ever know you fought, chosen one. The ones that happen in silence, behind smiles, beneath the surface of composure. You have stood between heaven and earth without recognition, holding ground for others who never knew their safety depended on your prayers. This is the hidden labor of the intercessor, the quiet warfare of those called to stand in the gap. You were chosen not only to rise, but to hold the line, to feel what others cannot, to sense storms before they form, to weep for people who have no idea they are being protected. This is the unseen ministry, the kind that carries heaven's heaviest weight in the gentlest heart. You have felt burdens that didn't belong to you, dreams that weren't yours, tears that fell for strangers. It's because your spirit is wired for divine empathy. Intercession is not simply prayer. It is participation in the heartbeat of God. When you intercede, you lend your voice to heaven's compassion. You become a bridge between mercy and mankind. You may never see the results of your prayers, but every whisper sent upward alters reality below. What you release in faith, heaven multiplies in effect. Sometimes the weight of this calling feels unbearable. The exhaustion that appears for no reason, the sudden heaviness of heart, the sleepless nights filled with a sense of urgency. Those are not coincidences. They are invitations. Heaven trusts you enough to share its burden. Angels respond to your sighs as though they were trumpets. Your tears translate into strategies in the unseen realm. And yes, intercessors often suffer invisibility. The world celebrates those in the spotlight, but heaven crowns those in the shadows. Prayers whispered in secret are more powerful than words shouted from stages. You have been hidden not because you are small, but because you are sacred. The quiet ones guard the gates while the world sleeps. Every time you choose compassion over apathy, you reinforce the shield around humanity. When you kneel for the broken, heaven stands for the world. This is your hidden heroism, the sacred work that goes unnoticed but never unrewarded. Heaven records every sigh, every plea, every unspoken word of mercy. As the scripture affirms with timeless clarity, the apostle wrote in the first letter to Timothy, chapter 2, verse 1. I urge, then, first of all, that petitions, prayers, intercession, and thanksgiving be made for all people. That is your commission. You are part of a lineage that traces back to prophets, watchmen, and weeping mothers who refuse to let darkness have the final word. You stand among them each time you pray, a continuation of heaven's rescue mission. You are not praying alone. You are joining a choir of eternal voices singing the language of redemption. Intercession also teaches endurance. When answers delay, faith deepens. When nothing seems to change, your trust matures. You learn to value presence over proof, intimacy over outcome. This is what makes you dangerous to the enemy. Your persistence. You do not stop when results hide. You keep praying until heaven moves. You may never meet the lives your prayers saved. The child healed, the accident avoided, the despair turned to hope. All ripple out from your obedience. The unseen will one day be unveiled, and heaven will replay your hidden moments like sacred film. The midnight intercession, the trembling whisper, the tear that shifted eternity. There will come a time when you feel weary, when your compassion feels spent, and your spirit feels dry. In those moments, heaven refills what it once borrowed. The same God who invited you to carry the burden will carry you in return. Your tears will become the rain that revives you. Never doubt the worth of your hidden work. The loud may inspire crowds, but the quiet ones sustain creation. The world keeps spinning because someone like you is still praying. You are the hinge between mercy and judgment, the soft voice that delays destruction. When others see chaos, you see calling. Chosen one, never underestimate what happens when you whisper heaven's words into earth's wounds. Your prayers are not small, they are seismic. Every amen you release shakes unseen foundations. You are not forgotten, you are fortified. You stand where few dare to stand, between despair and deliverance, between pain and promise. When history remembers the mighty, heaven will remember the faithful. The world crowns those who fight with swords. Heaven crowns those who fought with supplication. You are one of them, the silent warrior, the hidden watchman, the bridge between God and his beloved creation. Rise, chosen one. The time for silence is over. You have carried words too long in the secret chambers of your heart, words that were never meant to remain hidden. Heaven is now urging you to release them. The same voice that once whispered, "Wait," now declares, "Speak." This is your hour to rise and declare light into the chaos. You were not chosen to be quiet in a world that echoes confusion. You were chosen to be the sound that restores clarity. Every word you speak in alignment with heaven carries weight. It is not mere language. It is breath from eternity, shaping the invisible into existence. Your voice is not ordinary. It is prophetic in nature. It shifts things. It pierces darkness like lightning through clouds. You have been silent, not because you lacked power, but because heaven was teaching you timing. Now the moment has come. Speak with conviction, but speak with love. When you release truth, it will not always be received easily. Light never enters darkness without resistance. Some will misunderstand you. Others may mock, but heaven will back every syllable born in obedience. The world doesn't need louder voices. It needs purer ones. Yours was purified in fire, and that is why your words will not return void. There is a rhythm in the spirit right now. Can you feel it? It beats in sync with your heartbeat. Every breath you take, every prayer you whisper, releases vibrations that move through unseen realms. When you speak, the universe listens because the Creator's breath flows through you. This is divine partnership. Heaven's message spoken through human lips. As the sacred word declares, the ancient words recorded in Isaiah, chapter 55, verse 11. So is my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it. This is what happens when you open your mouth in faith. Your declarations are arrows of light, finding their mark in unseen places. They bring healing where despair once lived, hope where apathy settled, and fire where hearts grew cold. Your obedience to speak becomes the bridge heaven uses to reach those on the edge of surrender. But remember, this mission is not yours alone. You are part of a collective rising, a generation awakening to purpose. Each time you share a message of light, you fan the flame in another heart. Think of it like passing a torch in a long corridor of souls. One flame touches another until the entire path glows. When you like, comment, or share these messages, you are not feeding algorithms. You are spreading warmth. You are helping divine fire travel through digital wilderness. And when you subscribe, you are saying, "Yes, I will keep walking with this flame." You become part of a movement that reminds the world, heaven still speaks, hope still breathes, purpose still burns. This is not about numbers. It's about nourishment. Every connection here is a thread in heaven's tapestry. If you ever feel led to support this work, through prayer, through presence, or through giving, do so as one planting seeds in good soil. Donations are not transactions. They are transformations waiting to unfold. Like watering a young tree, your gift allows this message to keep growing, reaching farther, shading others who need rest from life's heat. You may never meet the souls touched by your generosity, but heaven will show you one day the harvest your seed produced. The call to support is not a demand. It's an invitation to participate. We build together what cannot be built alone. The lamp burns brighter when many pour oil into it. You may think your drop is small, But in God's hands, even drops become rivers. When you give, share, or comment, you become part of the current that carries light into unseen corners. So as this word reaches you, pause and let gratitude rise. You've come far through storms, silence, and refining. Now you are standing tall, voice steady, purpose alive. The mantle rests on your shoulders, the fire burns in your chest, and heaven watches with pride. You are not just receiving messages, you are becoming one. Let your heart respond in its own way. Comment below a reflection, a testimony, a few words that mirror your journey. Your story might be the spark that reawakens someone else's faith. Words, when spoken in truth, never fade. They ripple through eternity. Rise and declare, chosen one. Let your voice become the trumpet that reminds the weary that light still wins. And as you move, remember, you are both messenger and miracle, both echo and origin. Keep shining, keep speaking, and keep letting your life become the sermon the world didn't know it needed. At last, the weight begins to lift. The journey that once felt endless now carries the fragrance of fulfillment. The path that bruised your feet has become sacred ground. You can sense it, the shift in the atmosphere, the quiet joy beneath your ribs. The war is not over, but the outcome is certain. You are standing at the threshold of manifestation, chosen one. What heaven promised long ago is now unfolding in real time. This is the crowning moment, not of fame, but of fulfillment. The crown you receive is not made of gold or jewels, but of endurance, faith, and obedience. It is invisible to the world but radiant in the spirit. Every trial, every tear, every act of perseverance shaped it. You did not earn it through performance. You received it through persistence. The one who called you watched every moment of surrender, every prayer whispered through pain, every quiet act of faith. And now heaven places the crown upon your head, saying, "You made it through the fire, and the fire did not consume you." You stand differently now. The same storms that once shook you now bow beneath your steps. You have grown into authority, not through power but through process. Your voice carries a calm that commands. Your eyes hold wisdom that cannot be taught, only lived. You are not who you were when this began. The fire refined you, the trials matured you, and the waiting made you wise. But this crowning moment is not about comfort. It's about commissioning. Heaven crowns not to conclude, but to release. Every crown carries an assignment. The glory that rests upon you now comes with purpose. You are no longer just a receiver of revelation. You are a carrier of it. Your presence is prophetic. Wherever you walk, heaven walks too. This is how divine authority operates, not as domination, but as demonstration. You carry peace into chaos, love into hostility, healing into brokenness. People will feel something different when you enter a room, though they may not understand what it is. It's not charisma, it's consecration. You are a vessel of divine order in a world unraveling. The crown fits because you were shaped for it. Every burden was measurement, every test was tailoring, every setback was stitching. The seasons that stripped you were not loss, they were design. You were being sized for sovereignty. When others saw ashes, heaven saw architecture. The pieces of your pain were being woven into a garment of glory. As the sacred record affirms, as the Apostle James wrote in his letter, chapter 1, verse 12. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. This is that promise manifesting now. The crown of life is more than reward. It is realization. It is living proof that faith outlasts fire. You have crossed the threshold where endurance becomes evidence. Your scars are not signs of defeat. They are the jewels set in your crown. Look at how far you've come. The nights that made you tremble are now testimonies of strength. The valleys that felt endless now reveal paths paved with divine fingerprints. You can trace the thread of God's faithfulness through every chapter. Nothing was wasted. Every delay carried meaning. Every silence carried strategy. In this crowning moment, humility becomes your robe. You no longer need to prove your worth. You embody it. You no longer chase validation. You rest in revelation. You walk not to be seen, but to serve. That is the paradox of divine kingship. You lead through love, rule through humility, and conquer through compassion. Heaven crowns the quiet ones, the ones who didn't give up when no one applauded, who worshiped without witnesses, who kept showing up when it didn't make sense. You are one of them. You have graduated from merely believing in promises to becoming proof of them. And now, the world will see a new kind of royalty. Those who wear crowns made of faith, not fame. Those who rule with mercy, not pride. Those who walk in light so pure that darkness flees without confrontation. This is who you are now, a crowned carrier of heaven's heart. Let this truth settle deeply within you. The weight you feel on your shoulders is not burden. It's blessing. It's the gentle reminder that you were chosen for this exact moment in time. The crown was not given to decorate you, but to demonstrate the faithfulness of the one who called you. So walk tall, chosen one. Walk with reverence, with gratitude, with grace. The journey was long, but the reward is eternal. You wear heaven's approval now, not as a trophy, but as testimony. You have become what endurance looks like when it turns to glory. The crown fits perfectly because it was always meant to. And now, silence falls again. Not the silence of emptiness, but of completion. The air around you feels holy, charged with the quiet hum of destiny fulfilled. You can almost sense heaven holding its breath, watching the moment when everything written about you begins to unfold in visible form. This is not the end of your story. It is the sealing of what was promised. From the very beginning, this journey was never about perfection. It was about preparation. Every detour, every heartbreak, every season of obscurity was the shaping of a vessel designed to carry revelation. You are that vessel. You have endured storms that would have broken others, walked through fires that refined rather than consumed, and risen from ashes that once looked like the end. Now, heaven calls this moment the unveiling. You are standing in the place where promise meets fulfillment. What was once prophecy has become presence. What was once spoken over you is now living through you. The world around you may not yet recognize the transformation, but the spiritual realm does. The crown you wear, the authority you carry, the peace that rests on you, they all testify to heaven's handiwork. There is a stillness that comes with completion. It is the peace that follows obedience, the rest that follows surrender. You no longer chase after clarity because you have become clarity. You no longer search for direction because you have learned to move with the rhythm of divine flow. This is maturity. Heaven was building in you all along. Not louder faith, but deeper trust. The path of the chosen has always been narrow, yet beautiful. It leads through valleys of refining and mountains of revelation. You have tasted both, and now you understand their balance. You see that joy and pain were never enemies. They were companions, shaping you into one who could hold both suffering and strength without breaking. There is something sacred about this stage of your journey. You begin to notice that your prayers have changed. They are no longer desperate cries for rescue, but quiet conversations of gratitude. You no longer beg for signs. You live as one. You have become the message you once longed to receive. Others will find in your presence what you once sought in others: peace, hope, conviction, and truth. And heaven confirms this completion with its eternal promise. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of John, chapter 16, verse 33, "In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. That verse is the sound of final victory, the steady reminder that no trial ever had the power to define you. Every battle you fought was already conquered in Him. You did not overcome through strength alone. You overcame because His Spirit lived within you, guiding, protecting, and empowering every step. Now, you are entering a quieter kind of strength, the strength that doesn't need to prove itself, the strength that loves without fear, forgives without hesitation, and stands without arrogance. This is the peace of the overcomer. It doesn't roar, it radiates. It doesn't fight to be seen, it simply shines. You will notice something beautiful in this season. Things that once triggered anxiety now invite calm. The situations that once terrified you now reveal opportunity. The people who once misunderstood you no longer offend you. You bless them instead. That is the sign that transformation has taken root. The same fire that once tested you has now become part of your nature. You no longer fear flames, you carry them. Every story has a turning point, and this is yours. You are crossing from endurance to embodiment, from receiving revelation to releasing it. The years of breaking were never meant to end in fragments. They were preparing you to become a vessel of wholeness. Now, everything that tried to destroy you becomes part of your anointing. You are not just the chosen one, you are the proven one. The journey has made your faith unshakable, your heart unbreakable, and your purpose undeniable. You walk forward not as one still searching, but as one who knows. You have seen the hand of God too clearly to ever doubt His faithfulness again. The message that began as a whisper has now become a seal. This did not come from man. It came from the heart of heaven, written into the very rhythm of your being. You are the fulfillment of a divine sentence, the echo of an eternal promise, the living testimony that God still chooses, still speaks, and still completes. The trumpet has sounded, not to summon fear, but to announce fullness. You are standing in it now. The divine cycle is complete, and the final note resounds across heaven and earth. It is done. And now, beloved chosen one, the message rests. What began as a whisper from heaven has become a river flowing through you. Words no longer heard only with ears, but felt within spirit. If these words stirred something deep inside you, it means the message found its mark. You were never just a listener. You were always part of this divine story. Let the flame stay lit. Do not keep it hidden. Share this message, not for fame, but for faith. When you share, you scatter light into places where shadows still linger. When you comment, you anchor the word in your own heart, writing yes across the unseen. And when you like or subscribe, you keep the current of truth alive, helping it reach those still searching for confirmation that heaven still speaks. Speak life into the comments below. Tell your story, declare your gratitude, leave words that remind others that they, too, are chosen. Together, we keep this light burning, one voice, one heart, one act of faith at a time. You are not just receiving the message, you are the message. Carry it forward. The world is waiting for your light.